Hello everybody, Croeso, good evening and welcome to this half an hour talk all about Start Strong. Now some of you might be just thinking like, what the heck is Rachel going on about now? And some of you might understand why I'm here. So normally I do the introduction to cafe inside the cafe. So it's only the people who join for the cafe who get to find out about it. But this time I thought, you know, sometimes in the new year, I don't know about you, it makes you feel like, come on, you know, not another year of doing what I've been doing before, or not another year of feeling like I'm going to change it. And whilst, you know, you don't have to make a New Year's resolution because I'm a bit of a naughty person. And if I make a resolution, I quite often break it. Hello, everybody. So for the people who've been here before, you know the drill. I have to be careful with paper, don't I, because it makes a noise. You know the drill. So say hello, put your thumbs up, say you're watching, because what that does is it wakes up people's Facebook page, because we all know and love Facebook for all its different guises, but we also know it can sometimes be a bit of a tricky thing. So if you have joined, if you've joined in the last hour, okay, I haven't sent you anything out, but if you have joined, then welcome. And if you haven't joined and you're just interested in finding out, please listen. How are we all today? Are you all raring to go? I hope so. I've looked at the programme and it's quite intense, isn't it? All right, so you may have found out, I will come and answer the questions afterwards. Oh, hang on, put this bit over here. You may have seen this, okay? So I think in probably the beginning of December, I was trying to plan about what shall I do in January. Normally we do 6 weeks in January, and sometimes it can be a bit daunting, can't it? Like a 6-week course. So I thought, let's do 10 days, you know, because if we're going on a retreat, we might only go for a day or a week or half a weekend. But this is a 10-day. Now, this is not a list. This is not a to-do list of things that you have to do every day. This is an incentive for you to start the new year with a little bit of a change. It's all about being consistent with our exercise. And because we want you to be consistent, or I want to be consistent, or you might want to be consistent, the workouts are short. In between the workouts, I give a talk. So you might have seen on my page the calendar. You can see mine's got all the ticks on it. And that's because I'm making sure I've got everything organised in advance. So each of the workouts here are a little taster of the kind of things we do based around some of the research I've been doing over the past 10 years or more. 2009, I'm very bad at numbers, 2009, around how, when we go through menopause, exercise changes us. Now, I would say 99% of people in the cafe are women, but we do have males in the cafe who like the fact that they can do a 20-minute workout at home. Quite often, they're partners of women who've been doing the workouts and they've seen the results and they've joined in themselves. I've got my notes here. Normally I sit at the screen, but this time I thought I'd show you where we're exercising. But the Facebook seems to have made this really big. I feel really big. So normally we exercise in this kind of space, and we're going to be looking at the way that when we are older and we exercise, how that changes a little bit. And I found this quite fascinating when I was doing my own research, because I've been a fitness instructor all my life. So, you know, you would have thought like it would have been easy for me, but having gone through cancer and lost both my ovaries, I found the impact on my hormonal health of my body was quite significant. And the thing that's really held me together, both physically and mentally, is doing exercise. I also found that I found it really tough in lots of instances to do long sessions, you know, to do long cardio. And so I started to change to doing short cardio. But I like a workout, so shorter, more intense cardio that was relevant to me. Lots more weights because I need to improve my muscle mass, need to keep my bone density up. Lot less long cardio. So if you know, I was famous for my 1 hour killer step class. So that's kind of gone out the window, but step is still there, but this time for 20 minutes. The other thing is with the 20-minute ones, is if you do want to do a slightly longer one, then you put them both together. All right, so let's have a little look about what we're going to be doing in cafe. And please excuse the glasses because as I'm getting older, I can't see. It's a joy, isn't it? Okay, so we do short morning sessions looking at modifying our physical and mental health and well-being. In particular, reducing stress and improving recovery. There is a lot of rest, active rest, built into the cafe to allow you to understand how to reduce stress in your life. And this is, as we get older, what we find is that you have increased anxiety due to the way that the hormones change the way that we respond to stress. So you might already notice you're a little bit more short, you're a little bit more irritable, your sleep is disturbed, you get a little bit more bloated stomach, you find that you get more headaches, you might get migraine, you might get tinnitus, you might get more aches and pains. And all of this make us feel a little bit more irritable than normal. So when somebody says, come and do some exercise, you just want to bite their head off. I understand. And understanding that we can do practical things about this really ticks my box because I am a practical person. I just want to know why it works. So I always try to work around science. You know, I'm married to an academic and he keeps me on my toes in terms of how I produce my work and how I speak about it. So one of the things we're going to do is look at reducing what's called anticipatory anxiety. And that means if you were thinking about going to the gym, anticipatory anxiety might be, I'm nervous about going in because I might be the most unfit person in the room. I might be the most overweight person in the room. I might not have the right gear. I might be not able to understand how to do the machines and I will feel stupid. So that anticipatory anxiety can be a barrier to us doing any exercise from the word go. And so we're going to look at ways to reduce that. So we're going to say things like work out at home and wear the clothes you're comfortable in. And that is a really interesting factor because sometimes when you're at home, and people will tell you, they wear their pyjamas to do their workouts. Who cares? Wear your pyjamas, wear a sports bra if you need to, and wear your trainers. And then do the workout at the time that suits you. Now, I always do the workouts at 7:30 in the morning. I am not a morning person, and 7:30 for me has been a challenge, but I really enjoy it now I've got into it. But if you're somebody who goes to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, then you can do that the next day at 6 o'clock in the morning. And that's the way that it works. We can sometimes do it all together, or sometimes you can do it at another time yourself, at a time that suits you. So the morning sessions are really interesting because there's quite a lot of research around how what's called your circadian rhythm, or the pattern of how we stay awake and go to sleep and how that influences our hormonal health, is kind of shaped a little bit by when we choose to do our workouts. And the other thing that you might find as you get older, and me in particular, is that bedtime becomes a little bit earlier. And so whilst I used to teach quite happily till 7:30 at night, and sometimes I still teach till 7:30, and the talks for sure after 8, I prefer to have an earlier workout. I teach most of my live classes in the day, and I teach the evening classes to be short and finishing before that 7:30 thing. So you've got time for supper, time to unwind, so you can go to bed quite happily. Now, when we look at the circadian rhythm, we look at the way that our body deals with stress. We look at the way that our body influences both the gut and brain health. And I find this a really fascinating subject. And you all know that I work with This Works, that is all about how your circadian rhythm changes as we get older. And I like this kind of thing because all of a sudden you're not talking about exercise to do with, can you run a mile in under 4 minutes? Yes. You're talking about when is the best time for me to walk a mile? When is the best time for me to be able to do my exercise? when can I fit it in around my other responsibilities? Now, it's okay to say, you know, make time. Yeah, we do need to make time, but we also have to understand that we do have responsibilities as grown-ups, whether that's walking the dog or looking after parents or looking after kids or doing all of that. And so we need to be able to fit that in. We have a look at the science behind exercise in talks. And in this 10-day session, I've got quite a few talks starting tomorrow about nutrition, and I've called it diet. Because I think, like, if we're going to start to make a change together, we're going to start on day one when we talk about nutrition. And we're going to have a look at fibre, we're going to have a look at protein, we're going to have a look at hydration, we're going to have a look at the way that when we eat in terms of time of day interferes or supports our health and well-being. We're also going to be having to look at the way that exercise influences our health in terms of cholesterol, in terms of stress, in terms of bone density. This kind of information for me makes me want to exercise, because I know I'm not doing it so I can step on the scales and feel any different. I know I'm doing it not for today, or maybe I might feel better today, but maybe for my future self. So I'm protecting myself in future. And the talks are really a way of you just sitting back and listening to me. Okay? You don't have to look at me on screen. Okay, you can just put me in your earphones. We also do quite a lot of strength training in this. We are not going to the gym. We are not going to be able to lift heavy weights. We're going to be looking at technique and training tips so that we can work to our potential within a home setting, and also give us the confidence to be able to then go to a gym and use the gym equipment quite happily and quite safely. We're going to be looking at improving strength around the joints, reducing inflammation of the joints, improving tendon strength, ligament strength, and working with people with injuries. You know, most of the classes I teach are with people with back care issues. And I think we're doing 3 back care classes alongside some of the other kind of core work, such as standing Pilates or any other kind of things alongside the weights to help us work. Because back strength and postural strength are really key, aren't they? I know so many people who have been fit when they were younger, you know, ran, played sport, who are now inactive because of injuries they sustained maybe 10 years ago. You know, if you broke your leg, it has fixed. Why are you not being active now? Let's have a look at reasons why. Let's have a look at how we can support that. We're going to have a look in particular around spinal stability. Because if your spine isn't working well, it really influences your ability to just bend down and pick things up, even put your trainers on. So we'll look at spinal stability as well as mobility and stretch. One of the new things that we're going to look at, which I talked about, which is active rest, is going to be breath work. Now, you can Google breath work if you want to. And this is all about understanding how we as humans can actively control our anxiety through controlling our breath. A lot of this is to do with cognitive health. And a lot of, if you've been in the cafe, you know I talk about this a lot, about instead of it being a subconscious thought, that it becomes a conscious thought where you are controlling the breath, and therefore it changes which part of the brain is working and allows you to feel a little bit more control. The final part is, I think, about the people in the cafe. So I always say there's 4 pillars, okay? So exercise and nutrition, fine. Lifestyle, stress, you know, anxiety, things like that. But human connection for us is key. We are all people who like to listen at other people talking, look at other people, have a conversation with people, read things. Punishment for us would be to be locked in a cell with nothing around us. And I think that ever since COVID, we have changed the way that we behave. We changed the way that we're interacting in society but we need to make that connection back. Now, online gives us the opportunity to keyboard and talk that way in a way that is less intimidating than having to start up a conversation with somebody in the gym. When we talk about things, so this week in Cafe, you know, somebody's become a great grandmother, which is fantastic. Many congratulations, Gay. And people have been going like, you know, my dog died, or anything like that. You know, there could be extremes of things, or somebody's going like really frustration things, or where do I find the best pair of leggings? Things like that, where you feel you are talking with people who are going through the same process of you, really helps your journey. So I said that was the final part, and I lied, because the final part, of course, is the handbook. Now, this evening, I'm going to email you the handbook. The reason why it's delayed, because I thought I'd be clever and do it as a digital handbook, right? Don't ask me. I just thought like it would be great to have a digital handbook so you can put it on your computer and you can type into it straight away. It's not going to be happening, okay? You can have it in a Word document again, like last time, because it's causing me more grey hairs to try and work out this digital handbook. So the handbook is all about keeping track. Because if you know human nature, or you understand what we're going to do, we're going to go, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do it. You know, by day 3, you're like, oh, I've had enough. So each day you're going to have a page on your handbook, all right? And all I'm asking is for 5 minutes of your time. So you're going to take the workouts you did and you're going to say something about them. Nobody gets to see this, okay? So you're going to say something about them. I hated that. I loved it. It was great. I'm going to do that one again. And then you're going to say about what you didn't like. And then you're going to say about things you change. Now, it's not supposed to be anything that you're going to share, but it's supposed to be something that is what's called reflective learning on yourself. Understanding what works for you is great, but understanding what doesn't work for you and why it doesn't work for you is really important. So say, for example, dumbbell workout, okay? So dumbbell workout, we need dumbbells. When you go to a shop, you will be given really bad advice most of the time about having a light dumbbell of around 1 kg or lighter to be able to lift a weight. And what I say to people is this: pick up your handbag, wear your handbag, start with that. So you might find that you didn't have a weight that was heavy enough, or your weight was too heavy. Because sometimes we have to improve grip strength before we can lift heavier weights, because we're not strong in our hands. Our hands get weaker as we get older. If you're struggling to take the lid off things, then you're going to struggle to hold a 5k dumbbell. So whilst we want to use a heavier dumbbell, we have to understand that's the thing. So by having a handbook, and you can say like, I struggled with this, I struggled with that, it shows you a way to make change. And making change is what this is all about. So it's called a restart or a reset or a reboot. Or what? Do you remember defragging your computer? It's like defragging your body. 10 days with me now. You have to give yourself 5 minutes every day to do your reflective handbook. Print it out, write it on a pen, write it in a diary, read it on the screen, write it in a diary. It doesn't matter how you do it. Write it on post-it notes, who cares? But at the end of the 10 days, you can kind of say like, I like that, I didn't like that. And maybe, you know, you can go and find a class in that. Or maybe you can say like, well, actually, I kind of like the cafe setup, I'll stick with that. Maybe you can say like, I'm no good online. Lots of people say to me, Rachel, I'm hopeless online. I can't do it. I can't engage with it. Doesn't work for me. And I can understand that. But if you don't know what you don't know, then you can't make those decisions and choices. So when you do get your handbook later on today, as a Word document, not an interactive one, then you will need to spend time either printing it off. And if you come into class and you go like, Rachel, I haven't got a printer, let me know and I'll print it off and give it to you. So we're talking over the next 10 days about what's called reclaiming. Now, I was going to thinking about it's a bit like the repair shop. You know, when they take, this is my old thing and it doesn't work anymore, have it and redo it and ding, here we are. But it's not quite the repair shop, but it is going to be restorative. So we're looking to make you feel 10 years younger by choosing sensible, practical ways that are based on science about how the body responds to exercise stimulus, nutrition, lifestyle, and human connection alongside your own reflective journey. This is going to be about improving your confidence to exercise. It's going to be about improving your understanding about why HIIT works really well. Why does dumbbell workout better than barbell workout for some people? Why is barbell workout challenging for some? It's going to be about trusting your body to do the exercises in a functional capacity so that when you're doing things like picking up, I don't know, the bag of coal to take in the house, that you can do that without hurting yourself. And I think it is about, it's an invitation for you to train with me and other people in the cafe that is about the intention to improve. Now, 10 days starts tomorrow. I'm going to go through some of the classes now. I've got five or 6 minutes left. I'm going to go through each of the classes and talk about them, because I want you to understand what's called the barriers to exercise and what they are. And sometimes we talk about that anticipatory anxiety. It's like going, what's a metabolic workout, Rachel? So metabolic workout is going to be based on workout, what I call fizzy, where I think I talked about this the other day. I've lost my capacity or patience to do a long workout. So the fizzy workouts are a 20-minute session where we change activity every 5 minutes. So even if you hate it, you've done it, you've finished with it. So it could be, and I think tomorrow we're going to do 5 minutes of boxing, because that's really good for your stress. 5 minutes of weights, 5 minutes of HIIT, 5 minutes of cardio. Then we're going to do diet and nutrition tips, and they are going to be in your handout as well, about things you can do over the next 10 days to improve your diet and nutrition. You know, diet and nutrition takes time. But there's certain things that you can do to reduce gut inflammation quite quickly. We're then going to do a weighted workout. Now, I've stopped doing an hour-long weighted workout because people just didn't have the interest to do it. And I've kept this very broad. So if you're new to this, you do the weighted workout without weights and learn the technique. If you've got all the gear, you do it with all the gear. And if you've only got dumbbells, you do it with dumbbells. And then we've got what I call strong core and back, but this is actually a gentle back exercise. And the reason I've called it strong core and back, because that's what people with bad backs need. You need to be stronger. You're not going to get strong in one session, but we're going to have a look at how we can do that. Tuesday morning starts with a HIIT workout. A HIIT workout has got some really interesting scientific basis in terms of improving your fitness as fast as possible. And we're going to be doing 40 seconds work of cardio, 40-second works of weights, with a 10-second break in between, continuously for 20 minutes. Then in the evening, we've got a cafe conversation on how food helps your energy balance. And we're going to look at it in 2 ways. So number one, the first one we're going to look about it is like, if you're feeling tired and lethargic all the time, you know, you really want to do something, but you don't have the energy to do it. Or maybe say like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just absolutely craving sugar because your energy levels have dipped down. But also, because we talk about energy balance, we're going to say to you, if you want to try and reduce your body fat, how do we support the energy balance between intake and output to enable us to reduce body fat without losing muscle mass? You can do a degree in this, okay? So, and I've only got 45 minutes. So it's going to be a broad outline to give you some ideas. On the Wednesday morning, we're going to be doing a new session called Morning Stretch and Relaxation. Now, normally people do the relaxation in the evening, which is understandable. But what we're finding from research is that if you're a woman like me over the age of 50, you're tired in the morning when you haven't slept well. And sometimes it's our hormonal health that makes us not sleep well. And what happens is we wake early because our cortisol levels are peaking too soon. So we're wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. So when it comes to 7 o'clock in the morning, we are wide awake and anxious before work. So this is a new session to have a look at ways to reduce tension in the muscle and to improve the relaxation of our anxiety system so that we face the day in a calm, purposeful way that allows us to focus and gets rid of our brain fog, hopefully, and allows us to enjoy the day and not feel like we're, in that hurry worry all the time. We've then got kettlebells. Kettlebells for me have been a game changer because all of a sudden you can lift slightly heavier weights without having like a space issue. And then we're going to do standing Pilates. Now, normally we do standing Pilates in the morning. So you can see I'm messing about with this program. But a lot of people say, like, I can't do the mornings. So we're doing a standing Pilates in the evening to have a look at how balance and coordination help. This comes from 2 different places. But the most important one is to do with falling over, because we know that osteoporosis affects 1 in 2 women, and at least 50% of us over the age of 50 will break a bone due to osteoporosis. So what we want to do is not fall. So standing Pilates is about improving your core strength and your balance around your ankles, your knees and your hips. Then I've got a new session on Thursday, and again it's called Wake Up Pilates, and this is again based around your circadian rhythm to how can we kind of keep our cortisol levels at the right pace. So we're going to do a Pilates that is going to make you feel more energetic first thing in the morning. And then we've got a new, I don't usually teach Thursday evenings, a shorter cafe conversation on hydration, because hydration is key for, especially as women over 50. We see the incidences of UTIs, so urinary infections and kidney infections, are increasing in women of our age. Okay, so I'm 63 and a half. We need to understand our thirst driver reduces, what we can do to help our hydration work in. Got 2 minutes. And again, on Friday morning, we're doing stretch and breath work. So you can see that I've changed the cafe slightly to have a look at the more recent research around how to help female health in particular. And then we've got 2 sessions. So we've got stretch and relaxation followed by functional fitness. You can do both, or you can do one of them. It's up to you. Saturday morning, we normally do a workout at 9, but I've got babysitting duties. So we're doing it at 8. And we're going to be doing a barbell workout at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, and followed by a Pilates stretch and tone. Okay, so it's going to be a classical Pilates class. Sunday evening, I'm going to do a cafe conversations in order to get in the talks around the importance of eating protein and why protein is such an issue for us as we get older. Monday morning, we've got dumbbell workout, and then we've got Metabolic Monday, that fizzy workout in the evening to give people who can't do the morning sessions a chance to join in. And then we've got back here again. Tuesday, we've got circuit training, because that is such a good way to get fit, but it doesn't have to be circuit training like you see in the gym, okay? It's going to be circuit training you can do at home, my age, okay? And then we're going to have a look at why does weight training help for people as you get older, because I don't know about you, I hear so much rubbish about how we should be taking it easy, or, the kind of things like they think like if you've got white hair that you're frail. No, I can pick and carry a 25 kg coal bag, thank you very much. Okay, and then Wednesday morning mat work, and then we've got a step for 20 minutes, another standing evening Pilates, and then Thursday we've got functional fitness. And then finally, on the Thursday evening, we're going to do a talk on lifestyle change. And if you've been in the cafe, I do this every single cafe, because you have to understand what we want to do is to create habits that we can stick at. Because doing it once is okay, doing it twice is great, but doing it 300 times requires a change. And we'll talk about how does change happen. And yes, you can change, okay? We can all change. We can all adapt, and we have to do it, as I said before, with confidence. So I normally do this introduction, as I say, online in the cafe, but I've done it here now in the kind of way I would do it normally, going through the classes, going through the workouts. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I can't reply to the comments and talk. I'm not that clever. But I can get back to you on the comments. And if you don't want to put the comments in the public page, just message me and I'll try and get back to you. I've been super impressed with the amount of people who've joined up. Okay, so we're up to 100 people now who have joined Start Strong. That was my goal, 100 people. And we're going to start tomorrow morning. If you want to join with me, make sure you're on that Facebook page. Everything live is on Facebook. I've tried other platforms, they just don't work as well. So we're sticking with Facebook for live. And then after the class is finished, I put it onto YouTube. Now, I'm changing it from before. So before we used to have a YouTube unlisted, but it was slightly problematic. So I'm going to do a YouTube private group. So if you've joined up, you will get an email invitation. Check your junk mail to join the group. But I can't make the group until I've posted my first video, which will be this one. So I'll do that later on today. And then you can just go to your YouTube page, which is great because I'm very one for accessibility. And what people are finding is that this screen is small. You know, if you're on the floor trying to do Pilates and hold your phone, it's a bit awkward, as they say. But if you put me on the telly, there I am talking to you. You can do it quite happily, and you've probably got a bit more room in your lounge, haven't you, to do Pilates or weights or anything like that. And having it on the TV works really well. So most smart TVs will have a YouTube channel. So you just tune into that and do the workout whenever you want. And that YouTube channel you can watch forever if you want to. You might get bored of me by then. But you know, at least it means that if you're bored one day, and you can always go into YouTube wherever you are, can't you? You can go into it on any of the different platforms. So if you're away on holiday, or, you know, say like today, you couldn't go to class because of the snow, you can go, oh, I can do a workout at home. So hopefully you've enjoyed. Remember, this is all about doing things you like. This is not a to-do list. This is not a nag list. This is about enjoying yourself, giving yourself 10 days, okay? Focus, 10 days. We can do this. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30. Got any questions? Message me. Diolch yn fawr pawb. See you all soon. Hwyl.